Good. Have you no weapons on you?
No, sir.
Cool. Just come to me and turn around, put your hands behind your back, okay?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
What started as a family dispute escalated into a murder for hire plot. Newly released body cam video shows the arrest of TikTok star Gabby Gonzalez's dad, who prosecutors say worked with his daughter to hire a hitman to kill the father of her child.
We're co-parents. I take care of the doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments, and the therapy appointments.
Gabby Gonzalez told her hundreds of thousands of followers on social media she was co-parenting with her boy band singing ex, but she allegedly wanted him dead.
We'll put you in the backseat of one of our cars for a minute.
What her dad told authorities who were taking him away potentially for a very long time. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Look, it is cliche to talk about how surface level social media can be, but in this case, the online image is a world away from what the FBI says was really happening behind the scenes involving Gabby Gonzalez and her family. I'm going to be upfront with you. I didn't know who anyone involved in this story was before their arrest last month. But if you're like me, that doesn't really matter when you look at just how shocking the allegations are at the center of this story. And now we have some newly released body cam footage that shows the moment authorities took down the alleged money man of this operation.
You're aware of everything going on?
No, I'm not. I'm aware that
Your daughter,
yeah.
Gabriella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got this body cam video in from the Seminole County Sheriff's Office in Florida of the arrest of TikToker Gabby Gonzalez's dad, Francisco, last month. This is video per Wesh TV out of Orlando showing Francisco's first court appearance after he was accused of trying to hire a hitman to kill the father of his own granddaughter. And what makes this case even more striking is that professionally, Francisco's a lawyer, but now he's facing the possibility of spending years in a prison-issued jumpsuit. I will show you what Francisco said to deputies as they took him away in just a moment, but to really understand this story, you have to look at the alleged lengths that this family went in order to target someone who publicly they appeared to be on somewhat good terms with.
Okay, first I'm going to talk about Florida because duh! Being a born and raised Florida girly, and I moved away 5 years ago.
This is Gabby Gonzalez. She has more than 400,000 followers on TikTok, and then she has another 400,000 followers on Instagram. And she's built this following online for being brutally honest with her audience. I mean, listen to this one that she put on Instagram.
Free bleeding has helped me become more in tune with my body, for one. Number two, period products are ridiculously expensive. Period products should be easily accessible for everyone who needs them. They're not, obviously, and the prices keep increasing. And then on top of it, there's chemicals being put inside of pretty much every single period product, even the organic ones. I have just come to the place in my life where I choose not to participate in it.
Gabby was also very open about her daughter, who she shares with a singer named Jack Avery.
I became a single teen mother at, I would just say 17 because I was basically doing it by myself. After being a single mom for 2.5 years, I rushed into a relationship because I was really hoping for that physical and emotional support, as most single parents desperately want and need. Plus, I just really wanted to be in a happy, healthy, secure relationship. When it was clear that the relationship was not going to work out long term, I was terrified to leave because I was terrified of being alone again. And after being in that relationship for 2.5 years, I am now by myself again.
So another moment of honesty here. Beyond like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, I really don't know anything about boy bands, and especially the boy bands that are popular right now. But Jack Avery was a member of a boy band called Why Don't We? They stopped performing in 2025 because of some legal issues they were having with their former management. But They were really popular. Jack specifically is really popular. He has nearly 1.5 million followers on Instagram. This is a picture that he posted in March of 2025. And the picture is with a little girl, and the caption is, "My queen." Now, since 2020, Jack and Gabby have been in a custody dispute over their now 7-year-old daughter. And no matter the circumstances or how amicable a divorce or separation may have been, custody battles are not easy. But this is what Gabby said just in March of this year on Instagram.
We're co-parents. I take care of the doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments, and the therapy appointments.
So you see that video and you have to think to yourself, like, things seem to be going well. I mean, they've been in this custody dispute. That's certainly hard. There's a little girl at the center of it, but she seems to be very casual and open and talking about how they're co-parenting. According to the FBI, that could not be further from the truth. Things were incredibly dangerous at that point. So let's get into the allegations at the center of this. And to understand it, we go back to 2021. That is when the FBI started investigating the Gonzalez family and a couple other people allegedly for trying to hire a hitman to kill Jack Avery. And that includes Gabby Gonzalez, according to agents. So Gabby also has an ex-husband who told the FBI, according to the court documents that we've read, that her dad, Francisco, he said a custody dispute would be cheaper if Jack Avery was dead. Francisco even allegedly hired a private investigator at one point to follow Avery. This was years ago, to try to dig up anything on him that could help in this custody case. So with the custody of his granddaughter at stake, the FBI says that Francisco was allegedly willing to put up thousands of dollars to make the problem go away, and that problem was Jack Avery. This is a timeline of the allegations of how this alleged plot came to be. Court documents say on March 22nd, 2021, Francisco allegedly wrote in a family group chat, how about that, that he allegedly wanted to intimidate Jack Avery. He wrote, quote, "Call Barca never too early," which investigators considered significant because later evidence showed that Gabby Gonzalez and her ex-boyfriend, who's also involved in this, his name is Kai Cordry, and he is now facing charges as well. They allegedly tried to recruit an MMA fighter named Dustin Barca to threaten Jack Avery. Now, Dustin Barca is not facing charges in this case. We want to be very clear about that. At some point, though, over the next several weeks, the plan to intimidate Jack Avery goes to a new level. They were allegedly trying to find a hitman to kill Jack Avery. In April 2021, the FBI says that Francisco, Gabby's dad, sent $10,000 to Kai Cordry to go on the dark web to hire a hitman. Investigators say that Francisco allegedly tried to make the money look like it was for web development services, but agents say that was a cover. Work was never done for that $10,000 when it came to web development services. This is for something allegedly very sinister. June 2021, Francisco allegedly sends more money to Kai Cordry. This time it was $4,000, and court documents say, quote, on June 5th, 2021, Cordry sent Francisco Gonzalez a $4,000 invoice through his site, Whisper Business, and that Francisco later paid the amount. The charge appeared in Francisco's subpoenaed bank records. Cordry later stated he did not actually perform web development services and believed the invoice purpose was a cover. So you hear that, and Cordry seems to be cooperating to some extent. But again, he's facing charges, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. And you have this social media star, her boyfriend at the time, Kai Cordry, and then Gabby's lawyer dad allegedly coming up with this plan. And I really just don't know. Also, I want to point out, what part of the internet would you even go to try and find a hitman? But this group of people allegedly thought that they were on the right path. Kai's alleged screen name, by the way, for his alleged search for a killer, Lizard King 69. So apparently he thinks that he's found someone along the way who is a contract killer, someone who they can hire to target and kill Jack Avery. But in reality, the person that he was communicating with was not a hitman at all. They were speaking to the FBI. agents had access to everything that Kai communicated with this person he thought was a hitman online. And not only do investigators have those alleged messages, Francisco allegedly had a phone call with who he thought was an FBI agent. He used some code words, they say, but he was talking not to a contract killer. He was talking to a member of the FBI.
Hey you guys, welcome to my course on how to tell if he's a good man. Most likely he is not.
So you can see how Francisco is accused in this case. You can see how Kai Cordry, the now former boyfriend of Gabby Gonzalez, is facing charges in this case. But how does Gabby herself factor into this? She allegedly had conversations with Kai about the plan and how it could go wrong. And the FBI says they have those conversations recorded. The FBI also says that they have another witness who alleges that Gabby said that she wanted Jack dead and that she allegedly talked about a plan to use Bitcoin to pay for the hit on Jack. And she also allegedly said that she wanted Jack's death to look like a car accident. Now, the good news here is that the plot to kill Jack was foiled. And roughly 4 years later, after the FBI says Francisco talked about paying thousands of dollars to kill the singer, deputies moved in and took Francisco into custody in Seminole County, Florida, outside Orlando. And this is body cam video of that operation.
Are you going hands-on or me?
I'll walk to you and
Yeah. Hey, bud.
How are you?
Good. How are you? No weapons on you?
No, sir.
Cool. Just come to me and turn around, put your hands behind your back, okay?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Come over here, bud.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Gentlemen?
You're gonna stand over here in the shade, all right? I'm just gonna search you real quick for weapons, all right?
Yeah, you're fine.
Nothing on you?
No, sir.
Nothing that'll poke or stick you or anything like
No,
that?
sir.
You're aware of everything going on?
No, I'm not. I'm aware that my...
Your daughter,
Yeah.
Gabriella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spread your leg for me real quick. You turn around and put your back over here. Turn around. There you go. Way too tight, you good? Comfortable? As much as it can be? Okay, for now, we can adjust them if needed.
Alright.
Family, wife, is she in there, or kid?
My wife
your son and your daughter-in-law are in there, correct?
Yeah. My wife is in LA right now.
Okay. And then the newborn you saw earlier,
Yes. That's my grand.
your son's.
Yeah.
Hello?
We'll explain everything to you in a minute, alright?
Sure.
They were told y'all were still trying to walk.
Our car's a little hot.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
So you hear Francisco say he's a little hot, he's uncomfortable, but you can tell he's very polite here as deputies take him into custody. He seems calm, he seems understanding, but he also says he doesn't know why he is being arrested.
Dan's pulling up. We're just gonna we'll put you in the back seat of one of our cars for a minute, and then we'll go from there with everything. Okay.
Appreciate your cooperation.
Yes, sir.
Come on, back this way. Nothing on you that I missed, right? Just those receipts?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. I was gonna say, hang on a second. I didn't get any.
Can you park right there? Just some receipts.
Okay.
You need those?
Did you leave your phone in the residence?
Yeah, it's upstairs.
Okay.
You can have those. I mean, it's just for my accounting guy.
Who's in here?
My son and or his wife and my granddaughter.
Let's walk this way. He hasn't driven a marked car in a little bit. Let me go right here, but on the other side.
Better look inside there first, John.
Good? Nothing?
That's good. No, there's nothing in there.
Yeah. We'll crack the window also because we know it gets kind of hot back there.
It's gonna be a little uncomfortable here, John.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about it.
I mean,
But there's like a little crevice here that you can put your wrist. Yeah, you can. Yeah, there you go. For now, yeah. Sorry about it.
Francisco is put into a squad car, and a few minutes later, a deputy comes over to him.
Hey, sir. Yeah. They're talking to your son right now. I know your cell phone's inside your residence. They're going to ask you for your consent to go in there and grab the cell phone. If not, we're going to get a search warrant for the apartment and go in there and get it that way, which would cause your son and his daughter and all them to be outside for God knows how long. So it's up to you. If we have your consent just to go in there solely for the purpose of getting your cell phone, we can do that. If not, we'll get a search warrant to go in there.
that's fine. Not an issue. You don't need a
So
warrant.
we have your consent for your son to give us your cell phone.
Yeah.
What does your cell phone look like?
It's a black. It's got a black cover and it's an iPhone.
Okay, and what's the screensaver look like?
I think
Like
it's
your
just-
lock screen?
Yeah, I think it's just like regular, like a clock or something.
Okay.
No photo.
I'm gonna have the son come over here. You've given us permission to get the phone, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have your son. I don't think he'll believe me if I walk over and say that, so I'm gonna have him walk over here. And as long as you're good with that, we'll get him to go grab it, and then we'll be out of here faster than we would have been. Okay.
Deputies are also speaking to Gabby's brother, Francisco's son, who appears to have no idea what this is about.
Are you Nick?
Yes. Yeah.
Brian. Hey, sir, can you come out here? We got some stuff for your dad.
Brian Andrews.
Yeah, sorry. And then, that's Jackson.
What's that?
Who is it?
Jackson. That's when they called me earlier.
Sir?
He's for Dylan.
What do you need?
How you doing? This was left on him.
Okay.
His cell phone.
Okay.
I was talking to him on it.
Okay.
Can you hand that over to us, please?
I have to.
So,
How does this work?
So-
just tell me.
this case was out of California.
Okay.
They were requesting his phone.
Okay.
I know his phone was taken several years ago
Okay.
by the FBI when we had the FBI case.
Okay.
They're requesting us to have cooperation in getting his phone in lieu of having a search warrant written for the residents to take the phone.
In lieu of having a search warrant, so there is no search warrant.
No, there's not a search warrant for your residents currently.
Okay.
So
But
the
there's
officer,
not a search warrant for his phone, is what you said?
they were writing a search warrant for his phone.
Okay.
They are
so
asking.
once you have the warrant, then I can provide the phone.
Okay, so you want us to go over there and search warrant for your residents?
So perhaps this arrest is not entirely surprising because as you listen there, you hear the deputy say that Francisco's phone was taken by the FBI years ago. And you again, think back to this investigation. It started roughly in 2021. Now, this is when Francisco's son is brought over to his dad, who is in the cruiser.
That's the only item we're
Are you okay with me going up to get it and bringing it back to you? I know I said
Someone has to come with you though.
they can come with me, but I'm going.
We don't want to make sure that you don't go grab it and start deleting stuff. That's the only thing we're not concerned
that's
about.
fair.
You want to stand by that bike,
Yes.
please? You can see him.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. Okay. I'll just put that.
Who's going up with me?
One of them will.
Okay.
You?
The son then goes back into the house, and that is all the body cam video that we have at this point. Now, at the same time, Francisco is being arrested in Florida. His TikTok famous daughter is being arrested on the West Coast. She was in Humboldt County, which is in far northern California, and she was at an airport at the time of her arrest. After she was brought into custody, she was transferred to Los Angeles. Now, this is video that was exclusively obtained by TMZ of her first court appearance. Gabby stood behind a barrier with her attorney in front of her, so we didn't really get a great look at her face. But at this court hearing, which lasted only a couple of minutes, a protective order was put in place for Gabby to stay away, not just from Jack Avery, but to stay away from their daughter. Now, Gabby, her dad, and her ex-boyfriend, Kai Cordry, they have all been charged with attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. Now, as for Jack Avery, he actually said on a podcast last year that he was told by the FBI that he was the target of an alleged murder plot, but in that podcast, he didn't get into more detail about it, so it's unclear specifically what he knew back then, but he did put out a statement after the arrest of the mother of his child. He said, quote, "A few days ago, 3 individuals were arrested in connection with an alleged plot to kill me. One of those individuals is the mother of my daughter. For years, my family and I have endured intense public scrutiny, false accusations, and deeply painful attacks on our character and reputation. Throughout that time, I chose to remain silent out of respect for the legal process and, most importantly, my daughter. Right now, my focus is on being the best father I can be. I'm thankful to have sole custody of my daughter, who is safe, healthy, and deeply loved. I look forward to continuing to build a peaceful and stable life for her. I also want to express my sincere gratitude to my family, friends, law enforcement, and the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office for their support throughout this process. And finally, to everyone who has supported me and withheld judgment while the truth unfolded, thank you. Always seek the truth." Now, the judge gave Gabby a $2 million bond, and she was able to post that. So she is out of jail as this case moves forward. As for her 2 co-defendants, her dad and her former boyfriend, they are still being held in jail as this case moves forward.
Good morning, everyone. Between espresso, not like us, and the tortured poets department, my brain is on something. It's just...
Gabby has not posted on social media since before her arrest. Join us now to talk more about this story is Randy Kessler, family law attorney. Always great to have you here on Law and Crime, Randy. I want to start first with just the fact that this goes back to 2020, because that's where it seems like this custody issue started to go on. Based on everything that we know at this point, the fact that it took roughly 5-6 years to actually make an arrest in this case, just what stands out to you about that timeline? Because it seems like back in 2021, the FBI might have had enough, and I'm saying this not as a lawyer or a member of law enforcement, it seems like just on the surface in the peanut gallery that they could have moved in much sooner.
Right, and that's the, when you say might have had enough, and it's a criminal case, you need to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. One of my favorite sayings, Chris, is measure twice, cut once. And you don't want to lose a case like this. And the, urgency is really not there as long as they're only focused on the fake killer, right? If they're going to have this hired gun who's really an informant, then they're not worried about protecting the victim. So there's a little bit more time built in, but you want to do it right. You're going to get somebody for something this drastic, this dramatic, this hard to believe, right? Trying to convince a jury that a mom and her father would kill the father of the child. You better have it locked in. So I don't mind that they took time and they ended up getting enough. It seems like they got more than enough now.
Yeah, certainly do. Recorded conversations, phone calls. They allege that they have. I mean, it's, and we've seen in a lot of cases, especially at the federal level, they take some time to actually get to the point where they move in and take an arrest. I wanted to talk to you because, we often, and sadly, some of these cases where it may be a divorce that was going on. In this case, it was some sort of custody battle that had been going on for years. And I think of Francisco Gonzalez, and here's someone who is a lawyer himself, but also, like, you go back, it seems he's very involved in this custody dispute over his granddaughter. And it's not illegal to hire a PI to tail someone, I'm sure. But I think in hindsight, we look at that and we could say, like, things are getting pretty heated in this case. Like, as someone who works and often has to deal with some of these very tough, like, family dynamics, like, at what point do you kind of see something and feel like things are getting heated to the point where, you know, I don't know if you could ever predict someone would allegedly try to hire a hitman, but where things go beyond where it seems like maybe the law is just what we're focusing on?
You know, as lawyers, we have different levels of responsibility, right? We're bound, we can only do what's legal. And then to keep our license, we can only do what's ethical. And to keep our reputation, we can only do what's professional. I'm sure the state bar would frown upon hiring a hitman to kill your daughter's baby's father. We hear a lot of this, and there's a lot of hyperbole, there's a lot of anger, and we, you know, we're sometimes the filter through which, you know, it comes out and people will vent to us. And, you know, when they say things like that, we tell them, don't joke. And they say, wouldn't it be cheaper just to hire a criminal defense lawyer in case I killed him? And I say, that's not funny. If you're 1% serious, then, you know, we need to have a discussion, and I'm not your lawyer, and we're going to talk to somebody else and maybe go to the authorities. So we hear it a lot, and I've had those discussions. But how do I gauge? I'm not a psychologist. How do I gauge when someone really is so upset? And this doesn't sound like one where it would have been. This isn't one where mom was a really good mom, but dad somehow snookered the court and snookered the system and got to move with the child to another country, and mom never gets to see her child again, and she's angry. You know, those kind of things cause people to do drastic stuff. This was one where, you know, you look at her videos and you look at her social media, and you can see she's got a bone to pick, and she obviously thinks very poorly of men. Maybe that combines into it. But I don't see it as my job, Chris, to say this one's likely to kill her spouse or the father of a child. This one's not. If it's obvious to me, yes, there's case law that I've got to do something. The privilege is broken. If I know she's planning to murder the father of her child, I can and I will go to the authorities. But
Right. And you even think, I think you bring up a good point about like sarcasm, because, you know, at one point, Francisco is alleged to have said like, well, it would just be cheaper if Jack Avery was dead. And, you know, that is something where I'm sure people who are going through something as emotional as a dispute over custody of a child will make those types of comments. But then you're like, when does it reach that level where we're not really joking? And apparently, according to the FBI, that's what we were dealing with. And one thing I've brought up, because we've covered cases in the past when it comes to hitmen, contract killing. Of course, in the movies, you have these people that are out there who you can pay a sum of money to, and then they take care of it for you, and then they just kind of fade back into the darkness, and you never know who these people are. And it appears that that is who Gabby Gonzalez and her family allegedly thought that they were dealing with, when in reality, it was an FBI agent. And we've seen so many of these cases where it is a member of law enforcement who is presenting themselves as if they are this kind of boogeyman contract killer. What do you make of how this investigation came to be and what this means for the case going forward, that that's really how the FBI was able to gather so much evidence?
oh, I think it's a much easier case. I mean, we've covered cases where there was a hitman hired to jump out of the bushes, put a tire in the street, and shoot the dad as he was returning the daughter to mom for visitation. You know, those people, it's not like the movies. They get caught, right? And they're not professionals that charge hundreds of thousands of dollars. We hear stories, you cover the stories, where for a few grand, someone thinks, I can kill somebody, what do I care? They always get caught. The fact that it was actually somebody in law enforcement, it should be an airtight case because they've got them dead to rights. The person that's going to testify against mom and against her father is a person that mom thought she was hiring to do the murder, to commit murder. So I think it's a stronger case. It sounds like a very strong case. I don't know what the out is. And yes, you know, defense lawyers are going to say, well, that's just hyperbole and that's just humor, dark humor. But it was followed up by actions. It wasn't just, hey, I wish my husband was dead. And, oh, one day he's dead. There was A plus B equals C. It's a good
yeah,
case.
I mean, we're talking about action for years too. Like, it kind of all goes on. How long? I mean, the custody battle was going on since 2020. Jack Avery had custody of the child. They were co-parenting to some extent. Clearly, the family on Gabby's side wasn't happy. But how long can these custody disputes go on for? Like, even if there's a ruling, if someone gets custody, I mean, like, how common is it to have something going on 5-6 years where they're still kind of going back and forth on who should have custody of a child?
It's what makes my job so complicated. Sometimes interesting, but very often complicated because it's not a business transaction. And then when you have grandparents involved, and the grandparents not only want to protect their child because their child has done them wrong, you know, they want to make sure that they have a relationship with the grandchild. And, you know, we see it in the Adelson case where the grandparents got so involved that they helped orchestrate the murder. In that case, the murder actually happened, right? So cases can go on and on until everybody realizes I should take this. And I think it's a good lawyer's job to say, lick your wounds, take your best options, and be done with it. I had a conversation with someone until 10 o'clock last night explaining that it would cost a lot of money, that you're not going to get much farther. You're not going to be vindicated. The judge is not going to say, oh, you're an angel and he's the devil. You're going to end up with some sort of resolution. Try to resolve it yourselves, because if you resolve it yourself, you're going to have a better outcome than if you let a judge who doesn't know you do it. But yeah, Chris, sometimes people are just so angry and they're so self-righteous that they don't see the other side, and they don't have lawyers, or they don't have good lawyers explaining that there is another side. You are not going to look so great when you're in front of a judge and this fact comes up or that fact comes up. And children need both parents. Every judge is going to start off thinking that both parents had this child, both parents have a right to be with the child. So, but yes, they can go on and on and on, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't know what the kind of representation part of it was on Gabby's side beyond her dad, who works in personal injury law in Florida. But how do you, and I just find this more interesting on a general sense, like how do you manage, because I'm sure, I mean, again, you deal with people who are going through very stressful things every single day. How do you manage when your client is, say in this case, it was Gabby Gonzalez, and then you have a father that is very involved? She's obviously young, but like as an attorney kind of helping a family go through this, more generally speaking, like how do you manage those personalities? And when do you kind of speak up if you have that overbearing parent who's coming in and trying to be more involved than maybe the client?
How much time do you have? Not only do you have that,
right.
I mean, we represent lawyers, and we represent, lawyers bring their children. I've had, recently a lawyer brought their daughter to our office for the consultation. I always make sure I eyeball the client, and this might irritate the father or the mother who's bringing in the child, and I say, you are our client. If at any point in time you decide you want to tell me something behind your father's back, the privilege is with you. You are our client. I don't care who's paying for it, and that sometimes means we don't get hired because the father may be the one with the money. It's hard, especially when the father is a lawyer. But on the other hand, sometimes that's really, really good, because the people who are older, wiser, been around a while, can be a voice of reason. It can say, okay, I understand what Kessler's saying. He's explained that even though, dad's done these things, as long as he's living with his folks, he's not a danger. Or if you haven't caught him drinking and driving, the court's not going to proactively prevent him from driving with the children. So it's a double-edged sword. But when you have an overbearing, involved parent in a custody case, it can be difficult, but patience, explaining things. And sometimes we just have to cover our own behinds and put it in writing and say, listen, I'll say it to you, but I'm going to put it in writing. And when you calm down, please read this letter 3, 4, 5 times, and then let's have a discussion. But it's a good question, Chris, and it's very hard. And it's not just parents. It can be relatives. It can be agents. It can be managers. It can be people that are trying to protect the client. And sometimes they're trying to protect the client from us because we're just lawyers trying to make money, right? We're not trying to give good advice, is what a lot of people think. And we're trying to give the client what's best for them, not what's best for grandma, grandpa, uncle, brother. This is what's best for you and your child. And, and sometimes we don't know. We're trying to find it out. It's a hard environment, but I'm not complaining. I enjoy what I do. And I think, if we do it long enough and hard enough and think about it, and again, measure twice, cut once, we'll do a better job than someone who rushes to court and throws everything up against the wall and says, Judge, he's an idiot. You know what I tell people, Chris? I say the people that win custody or that do better in custody cases are the ones that say better things about the other side, the ones that show the court they're willing to work with the other side, as bad as they are, because this is the child's father or mother. And that seems to ring true.
How likely is it that Gabby, if she's found guilty of the charges she faces, and she would, get a pretty serious prison sentence, I would assume, if she's found guilty of what she's accused of doing here, how likely is it that she will see, if the father of the child, Jack Avery, says he does not want this child before they're 18, and of course after they're 18 they can make whatever decision they want, but they don't want, let's just say he doesn't want the daughter going to see mom in prison. I mean, how likely is it that she could have an argument to be able to still see the child if she is actually sentenced to a period of time behind bars?
So that's a tough issue. And there are cases. There was a case in Kentucky years ago where the rapist, the person who was the father, because he raped the mother, still was granted visitation because the child has a right to see the father. Every case is unique. You would have to convince the judge that all the concerns would be taken care of. There would be monitors, supervisors there to make sure that nothing came up that was inappropriate. people that had the right to terminate the meeting. It would probably be pretty hard, but again, it depends on the judge. And judges are important. People don't think about it, but really the question is, what does the judge for that case do in a situation like that? How does that judge feel? Is it more important that a child know who their parent is, even if their parent did this horrible thing? Or is it more important that the child not be exposed to that? It's a tough one, but there's no rule that says because she's convicted of a crime, she forfeits all right to custody and parenting time. And there's no rule that says, despite the fact that she did that, she is absolutely guaranteed parenting time. It's a case-by-case analysis.
Speaking of judges, she's able to post bond. Gabby did. She was given a $2 million bond. Her dad and her ex-boyfriend, who are also facing charges, they're still being held behind bars. Just when kind of like the issue of bond, I feel like it differs from state to state, certainly differs from judge to judge. Just in these cases where you see someone who is accused of a pretty violent crime as she is, they're able to post bond. Like, how likely does a judge know whether it's actually in the ballpark of possibility that someone might actually be able to post that number when they say it in court?
They don't. They don't for sure. That's part of the argument, right? Why does somebody who's poor get a lower bond than someone who's rich? And the point is because you want to incentivize them to return to trial. If somebody has $100 million and you say it's a $500 bond, they could pay the $500 bond and go to another country that doesn't allow extradition. So you've got to make it so much that, if it's more than their net worth, they're probably going to come back for trial. Bond is an interesting issue because, money versus a potential life sentence in jail, and if you're borrowing the money from your parents, do you care more about giving the money back to your parents or your own freedom? It's a hard decision when you're a judge, ordering bond. And that's why a lot of cases, don't have bond at all. But again, we're innocent until proven guilty. So if she can post bond, she's got a right, and she would hopefully want to come back and vindicate herself. Judges don't know. It's an art, not a science. There is no mathematical formula that says if somebody is worth $2 million, the bond must be equal to a quarter of their wealth or their net worth or whatever. It's just it's an analysis by the judge. What's most likely to ensure that they return for trial?
Yeah, always a debate in a lot of these cases when it comes to bond. Of course, depends on the state, depends on the judge. We'll see what happens here. Very concerning allegations, even if they're famous TikTokers or just Joe Smith on the street. Very concerning what this family is accused of doing. Randy Kessler, family law attorney. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Chris.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and we are also now streaming on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.